I'm Lisa, and welcome to American Aupair Host Mom. Today, I want to talk about agencies for au pairs. Do you have to get one? How much do they cost, and how do you choose one? These are all very common questions that I'm going to cover today. So let's get into it. First of all, do you have to join an agency to get an au pair in the United States? The simple answer is yes. There's no legal way around this. And I'm only going to talk about legal things here, so we're going to continue to talk about agencies. When you go into the comments, I will put a link to a US website that lists the current sponsors or au pair agencies to use. This brings me to the next section of how do you choose an au pair agency? In my opinion, the agency is pretty low on the totem list or totem pole of priorities on how do you pick an au pair. I think picking an au pair and making sure they're a really good match for you is much more important than the agency, but you do have to pick an agency, so it is something to think about. I'd encourage you to go out there and sign up for at least 2 to 4 agencies, or as many as you can possibly handle and juggle at the moment. I'm going to go through a little bit more on that, but agencies in general all have a very similar process. There are differences, but they're similar. When you sign up, you'll have to create a profile. Creating this profile can be daunting and a bit of time. I'd suggest when you go through the first time to go ahead and copy all your answers, or you can obviously re-log in and go to that section and copy them, but you're going to be asked similar things on every au pair agency site. And the point of this profile, of course, is to have a really good description of what you and your family are like and what you're looking for. And this is going to be key to your au pair understanding who you are. So this is the time investment that you're going to have to make with each agency. Now, what are the differences between agencies? There are anywhere from 10 to 15 agencies out there. Obviously, this varies, but at this time, you'll just want to go to that United States website and see who are the designated sponsors at this moment. But the sponsors will vary in size. Cultural Care is one of the oldest and largest agencies around, but there's many others ranging from large to medium to small boutique specialties. And these agencies will vary in the size of the database they have to choose from. They will also vary in the number of au pairs that they have from every country. So some people have a specific country they're targeting, and you might want to be able to see, does this agency have a lot of au pairs from that country? The other thing you'll want to understand is each agency will assign you a couple different people, but one that is really important in your interaction is going to be your LCC, or local cluster coordinator. There might be slightly different names for this, but this is the person, once you are matched and your au pair arrives, that you will be dealing with throughout the year. If your au pair rocks and you're having a really great experience, the contact with this person will be minimal. But where it becomes more important is if you do have any kind of problems, any kind of facilitation or rematch. If you need to do rematch, then this becomes really important because the LCC will play a big part in trying to understand what the problems are and helping you to rematch. So I think it's important that once you sign up for agencies, at some point that LCC will visit your home and you will go through a small interview process just to make sure you fit the requirements for a host family. But make sure to interview them back. Understand how they deal with their host families, what kind of contact they're going to do with you, what kind of activities you and your au pair are going to have to do. And also, another aside to think about for your au pair is that every LCC will have a group of au pairs, and those au pairs will go through networking activities throughout the year. This is a great way for your au pair to meet other au pairs and to start to fit into the community. Some people really value this and want to make sure that the au pair group is large, so they have a lot of people to meet. However, I also want to point out there's a lot of other ways for au pairs to meet and make friends. There's tons of au pair Facebook groups and other forms of social media for them to reach out on now, but it's still a consideration. The other things you want to think about are costs. This is a really big one. Unfortunately, the agency fee is large no matter who you go with, but there are differences in cost, and I've found looking at about 4 different agencies that I can see a spread of difference of almost $2,000 between the least expensive and most expensive agency. These fees can usually be found on their websites, but once you do join their database, that should become clear. You should definitely read through what the fees are and if they offer installment plans, which could become pretty important because a lot of the agencies will require their fee or most of their fee pretty upfront within 30 days of your au pair arriving, and that's a lot of money. We're talking anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000, so that's actually a significant choice too. And then a lot of people say, why is that fee so high? What does all this cover? Again, this is something I don't really value as much because, again, as I pointed out, it's government regulated. You don't have a choice. You have to choose one of these agencies if you want to become a host family and get an au pair. However, just to give you some idea of what these fees cover, and if you ask an LCC or an agency what they cover, you'll hear answers such as, this is the fees for the agency to go ahead and vet the au pair, to do all the background checks, to do the interviews with the au pair, to do training for the au pair before they arrive, maybe right when they arrive. A lot of au pair agencies have a local school like in New York that they send them to where they'll do about a week of training. So a lot of these fees cover that. The fees obviously cover the employees at the agencies such as your LCC and others. The fees will also cover some insurance for your au pair. They'll also cover some travel costs. That's a big one, right? For them to come from their home country to you and then back at the end of the year. And so those are some of the fees. You can definitely ask and get a more detailed breakdown from each, but those are some of the reasonings for it. And this covers a lot of the main choices when picking an au pair agency. Again, I'd really just encourage you to go out there and just start signing up for several. It's going to give you a bigger database of au pairs to interview and pull from, and you'll also get a feel for what your LCC is like and other small or large differences between agencies. I hope this was helpful for you, and I'd love to hear your thoughts or know if you have any other questions about how to pick an au pair agency. Thank you.